Hello and welcome to your favorite political program on television, on your favorite station, Universal TV, UTV Africa. My name is MADDOX, Maduka Ujimada. I'm your anchor, and as we always do on this program, we talk about something about Nigeria's politics and policies which impact everyone and how we can develop them. We always bring in resourceful persons who will be talking to us and expatiating on the issues. Today, we'll be looking at the topic, the impact of the cybersecurity law on the media and dissenting voices in Nigeria. Joining us to talk about the topic today is Aro Leonard. Aro Leonard is a developmental and social transformation as well as environmental expert, and he's the founder of the Clever Communications, also known as Cleverest Center. He is a veteran BBC trainer and broadcaster. Aro, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
All right, for a background, the cybersecurity law of Nigeria was enacted in the year 2015 and signed into law by President Goodluck Jonathan on the 15th of May 2015, just 14 days before he left office. Now, the law is said to be aimed at prohibiting cybercrime, protect computer systems and networks, and promote cybersecurity in Nigeria. Now, the law covers various aspects of cybersecurity, including hacking, identity theft, online fraud, cyber stalking, and cyber terrorism. Now, the law establishes the National Cybersecurity Agency, which is responsible for overseeing and implementing the cybersecurity efforts in Nigeria. It requires businesses to implement robust cybersecurity measures, including data protection and breach notification. The law provides for penalties, including fines and imprisonment for violations of its provisions. It has been praised for its comprehensive approach to cybersecurity, but also is criticized for the potential abuse on human rights. The law has been used to prosecute several high-profile cybercrime cases in Nigeria, and it's considered a significant step forward in Nigeria's efforts to combat cybercrime and enhance national security. Now, talking about this law, the perception has always been that the law has been applied in a limited way, usually to check the media and those who communicate anyway through an online means, typically on social media. If you see the application of it, it looks like they forget about the other aspects of the law, like data integrity, like hacking, and all of it. In fact, when we first had a conversation on the cybersecurity law, we were talking about ethical hacking, talking about cloud protection and all of that. But the conversation in Nigeria, as far as the cybersecurity law is about, it's all about the terrorism and the you could say defamatory aspect of using the cyberspace. So tell me, what are those key provisions of the cybersecurity law, and how do they affect press freedom and free speech?
The main thing is that it gives the government complete access or complete control to regulate whatever content online. So there are no distinctions there. So whatever you post, the government has access. And then it takes away that privacy. So it gives the government that power to check anything. So you cannot be private about anything. Now, when you talk about journalism, reporting, broadcasting, for instance, you have the right to protect your sources and so many other things that this law will take that away. So that's the main problem. Then when we talk about democracy itself, because there's something it does, because there are punishments. Now, the offenses are not very clear when it comes to content. How do you define hate speech and things like that? It's not very clear, but the punishment is there. So what you have is that because those aspects are vague of what defines what, anybody in power can decide to use that and apply any of those stiff penalties like imprisonment and all that on you. Now, what that does is that if it happens to one person, like we've seen some cases happen recently that raised some uproar.
Yeah.
Now, if it happens to one person, what it does is other people it now creates this kind of chilling effect.
Other people.
Fear. So you don't want to post things, you don't want to share things. And when we say democracy, democracy is about interaction. It's about free speech. Even though we know free speech has responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? So you must know what to say. But when you have some kind of laws that make you to hold back, then it totally kills democracy. It totally kills democracy. So that's the thing.
So now, how has this law impacted journalism and reporting, especially investigative journalism? Because I've seen so many instances where, for instance, even whistleblowers, there have been cases of whistleblowers now being arrested and charged with hacking and cyberbullying, cyber terrorism. How does this affect the work of the journalists, especially whistleblowers and, of course, investigative journalists?
Yeah, with the vague law, people won't even have the whistle again. The whistle will be gone. That's the truth. You won't blow any whistle because you don't know what you will say that will get you into trouble. Now, what we need to understand what whistleblowing is. Now, the truth about whistleblowing is that this person might not even have the full information, but he's suspecting something. That's why they say, see something, say something. It's not what they say. But what will happen is that because you are not sure about the law, anybody who does not, and the person you might be blowing whistle against might have link with somebody in power. So with that fear that, look, anybody can just take this thing and use it against you, you whistleblower, you don't have anybody backing you, then you'll be in trouble. So what will happen? If you like, make noise till now, shout and say, blow this whistle, and they won't blow the whistle. Now, what it does is that you as a journalist, who will be the sources, who will be the people to give you information, you're not going to find them. Everybody is scared. And then when we talk about the journalism sector, yes, Nigeria has one of the most vibrant media in the world, media space in the world, honestly. And a lot of times we don't appreciate Babangida for deregulating the space in 1992. If you go to several other African countries, I've visited a few, even outside Europe and some other places, you find out that the way the media space is quite controlled. But in Nigeria, we have one of the most diverse media spaces in the world.
Could this be the reason why such laws are put in place, so that the freedom is not abused?
Yes, but you see, if the laws are well thought out and they are specific, clear, because see, you don't just look, we need to appreciate and understand journalism in this country. We need to appreciate the media. There's nobody in power today that got in there without the support of the media. That's the truth. The peaceful elections we are having today is because of the work the media is doing. But largely, we don't appreciate what the media does. For instance, if there are distinctions in that law that provide some kind of protection for the investigative journalists, if we truly want the country to be great, if we say we are fighting corruption, we are doing all those things, it's the media that will do it. So now, if there's no aspect that clears that distinction, that protects you as a journalist when you're doing your regular investigative piece. Now, if a journalist investigates something and it turns out not to be true, that journalist there are laws already, apart from this one that is in place. There are laws already that somebody can take that journalist to court, you know, that are already in place. But this one now is sweeping. That is the problem. It's just a sweeping law that anything, the government can just get up and say, you've committed an offense. So it's going to put that fear. And we currently know, with the economic situation in the country, we know how the media is suffering in Nigeria currently. You know, it's difficult to run a media business in Nigeria, paying salaries, getting people to want to do that extra. So with this lack of protection, a lot of journalists wouldn't do anything. And it's going to be bad for the country. That's the truth.
Now, one of the questions myself and other people have been asking is, this law is now made to apply to the media, yet every angle of the media space is regulated. If it's print, it's regulated. If it's If it's the electronic broadcast, radio and television, they're all regulated. So why bring another level of regulation at the internet space, which is the new frontier of communications? Is that something the government is afraid of on that level?
You see, I always say this thing. We've been having this issue about fake news. We've done loads of training about fake news, both for journalists, people in government, young people on the streets. We've done trainings, so many trainings on fake news. And I keep saying this. And that's why I say those in power do not really understand the role of the media in this country. And that's why they are doing these things. See, it is simple. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters Summit. I was one of the panelists, and I spoke about this same thing. What are you afraid of? The truth about it is that the media today, radio, TV, operates in that social media space. That is where this law is actually against. But because the media now operates there, it's now affecting the media. Okay. Yes, agreed. Some people have used that platform to do fake news. Fake news is also business. Some people post things out so that people will run down there,
clickbait.
Click on it, and then they make some money. Not necessarily because they want to commit some harm. And that's why I say the solution, rather than investing in trying to punish people, create draconian laws, regulate that space, because another thing effect of the law is the effect it has on economy. Look at the digital economy. Look at young Nigerians, the way they are using that space. See how many billions we lost during the Twitter ban. You know, so you want to encourage that space to grow, to become vibrant. You don't want to kill that space. The richest YouTuber in Africa today is in Nigeria. So you don't want to kill that space. See the way they've been able to take a lot of families out of poverty as a result of using that space. You don't want to kill that. But that is what this law will do. So what I advise usually is this. The solution is not creating this law. It's about training. Train people. Train the media how to occupy that space. Now, all the researches we've done, right from my days at BBC Media Action till today, I checked online recently, all over the world, you find out that young people that are the movers of this so-called fake news online that political people are afraid of still trust the traditional media till tomorrow. What they want to get online and everywhere is news. Now, so if you don't occupy that space as traditional media and as government, because the government were afraid that people are saying things against them, so they want to curtail it. Now, if you don't occupy that space, other people will take over the space. So train people how to use the space, train people how to identify fake news that they should not post, and then you occupy the space. So, for instance, when policies come out, flood that space with information. Always talk to people. And that's the way, rather than creating laws that will stifle the space.
All right, thank you so much. I think you've done justice to it. You've identified the problems and you've also spelled out the solutions. So I want to thank you for your contributions to this topic this morning. And it's still something I believe we will talk about more, because every day more and more issues come up with the application of the cybersecurity law in Nigeria. So thank you very much for elucidating the issues for us today. We'll be going for a break. Don't touch it out. We'll be back.
Welcome to Candid Conversations. This is that show that offers unfiltered glimpse into the real stories of some of today's most impactful leaders. In a world that often celebrates the final products of success, Candid Conversations takes you behind the scenes to uncover the personal struggles, doubts, fears, failures that have shaped the leaders we admire today. In each episode, we sit down with people who have made their mark across different industries: media, politics, entertainment, business, entrepreneurship, and beyond. And we have honest, thought-provoking conversations around their personal and professional journeys. The goal of the show is simple. It is to go beyond the accomplishments and accolades and uncover the raw, emotional stories that rarely make the headlines. My name is Blessing Okebe, your host, and this show is coming to you live from Universal TV Africa. Let's get into these conversations.
Welcome back. You're still watching Inside Politics on Universal Television Africa, UTV Africa. My name is MADDOX, Maduka Ojumadu. I'm here with Aro Leonard, and today we've been looking at the topic, the cybersecurity law in Nigeria, its impact on media freedom and free speech. And before we went on the break, Aro has been elucidating on the issues and also the solutions to it. Right now, I want to ask him for some definitions. Aro, give me definitions. You've used some words today. You've used hate speech, you've used fake news, and all of that. I know you said the law is vague, but for any media person out there, any social media user out there who wants to be on the safe side of things, what is fake news? What is hate speech?
Okay, fake news is fake now. Anything that is fake, any news that is fake, any news that is not real. But you see, it's broken into parts. Now, there's the part around misinformation. Now, that's the part where, let me give an example. I passed an information that is not correct, but I didn't pass it because I want to harm anybody. I just maybe misinterpreted something.
An honest mistake.
Honest mistake. You know, that's misinformation. Then you have that disinformation. That is deliberate. Okay? I deliberately decided, I know the right thing, and I deliberately decided that I want to pass wrong information. That's disinformation. Then the most funny one, which is the one that really relates to this political class that we are talking about, because they do it more, is malinformation.
Wow.
Now it's like this. I have information about you, right? Something that is not supposed to be in public. I will now take it, blow it out of proportion, and then deliberately use it against you for political purposes. That's what we see in politics. Even in the US, it's now very rampant, over there. We use it a lot here in Nigeria. Some things that we just bring it up. You never ever talked about that thing before, but because of politics, you bring it up and then you deliberately want to use it just to bring somebody down. Now, the other thing about fake news that we need to know and the public needs to know is that, see, fake news is not spread by bad people. It's not spread by the people who create it. I earlier said that fake news is for some people is also business. It is spread by innocent people. Innocent people on the street. You just see something online. It's wrong. But because of the weight of that thing, you want to actually help people. You just say, there is problem, so place. And you just share quick to everybody just because you are hoping that, if somebody sees this thing,
it will do good.
It will do good. Meanwhile, it was deliberately brought out by somebody so that innocent people like you would share. That's why I talk about this training. So one certain period while I was with West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy, we trained young people in the 17 states, southern states of the Federation, that was funded by the US Embassy, on identifying fake news so you don't spread it. And those are the kind of things, if you check it, who are the people that even post a lot of this fake news? Your grandmama for village, all those kind of people. So that's where the government, and thank God, National Orientation Agency is doing their management retreat and refocusing on doing proper orientation. These are the things to focus on. Train people how to identify this fake news. There are tools to use so that they can't spread it. And then train journalists. There are technical tools that the ordinary people can't use, but there are technical tools that journalists could use. You post a fake picture today, I could see it. Now, all media organizations are supposed to set up like fact-checking decks and things like that. You understand? Invest in training them to have that in it to help stop these things. Then when you talk about hate speech, that is the one I don't like to talk about, because what used to be jokes cracked by the Sonny Rabos and the Zachary Mohammed that we used to listen to a lot on Radio Nigeria in those days when we were growing up, some of those things are now hate speech. If you call someone from one part of the country a certain name they used even on some soap opera on TV.
Back in the days.
Back in the days, today they say it's hate speech. So you can't joke anymore. I wonder how comedians they make money now.
But I guess there are real instances of hate speech. Hate speech could be in terms of the words you use. It could also be in the context you use them. But I get the idea of banters or probably sarcasm. But in what ways are the authorities who are applying the cybersecurity law pouncing on these things now to stifle free speech?
See, any joke, we've had people arrested for cracking some jokes online, for posting some sarcasm, like you said, online. We've got people, hounded for that. So anything you post now is a problem. And let me tell you the truth, it's not just in Nigeria, abroad. It's even worse there. Some things you naturally say with a lady, maybe in your office, that lady can take it up. And people have lost their jobs just by you cracking an innocent joke, and somebody just uses it against you. So when it comes to this space, the democratic space, it's really killing. It's really killing, because people will now be so careful. People can't speak out about anything. And let me tell you, see, those in power that are watching me, because we used to do master classes where we invite GMs, train them on, because this thing about censorship, very key for state-owned media and things like that. Tony Radia is one of those people, that did some certain things on national TV that people thought would not happen. See, those in power, if opposition does not speak, I'm telling you the truth, you will not be able to do the things that will make the people love you. See, this thing happened with the current president while as governor in Lagos. From the things the opposition was saying, and it made him to take some actions and do some certain things that made him win the hearts of the people. And then when Fashola came in, you see, he had to build on that. And that has kept them in power in Lagos for a long time. But if that opposition is not there to make you to be able to really do things that the people will make the people love you, at the end of the day, one mistake you make will just be the end.
All right, you've talked about you've been around a bit. You've been to other African countries. You've been to other parts of the world. Now, what's the regulatory space of, should I say, the cyber security regulatory framework in those countries you've seen? How can you compare them to Nigeria, especially putting the spotlight on the Nigerian cybersecurity law, bringing it under close scrutiny as to how it meets the best international practices?
Yeah, you see, the difference is that over there are lots of other policies and laws that will protect you. But we don't have protection here. That's why journalists get hounded every day and nothing is being done. Yes, you will see the NUJ come out and shout and make noise, and you understand. There are journalists that got missing. There's a popular one that I've forgotten his name. A national lecture is held every year on his behalf because he just mysteriously got missing in 1996, and nobody knows anything, knows what happened. We don't want to talk about the case of Delegiwa and all that. So you don't have protection, and now we have a lot of online journalists, who don't belong to the regular media space.
Yeah.
So if you belong to a regular media space, maybe your organization can fight for you, do some things, but those guys, it happens you're on your own. They just risk you and you're gone. So we don't have laws that will protect us. We don't have good insurance also, which is one very important aspect in the media space that is lacking. We don't have a lot of all these things. Another thing, we don't even have the tools to help us to be able to, really do our research, find out information very well. Because truly, the truth about it is that sometimes one of the problems is the way the journalists put out some of these stories. They usually say there's no smoke without fire. But you see, with some tools, proper training, good internet connection, thank God the same Goodluck Jonathan regime that was part of what they were trying to do by passing the Freedom of Information, what's it called?
Freedom of Information Act.
You know, which today is difficult to use because the protection for you is lacking. That's just the difference. Abroad, you could use that Freedom of Information Act and you know you are protected. But now, we don't have that sort of protection.
All right. In just 1 minute, what are the suggestions that you can make in terms of either improving the law, amending it to serve a better purpose, or the extent of application of it, maybe removing the media from it, and also probably more definitions of terms and issues? I don't know what suggestions you can make in that direction.
Yeah, I think it's the media, it's the part that has to do with the media that is important, because if it stifles the media, then there's a problem. So there has to be that clear distinction of when you're doing proper journalism, proper journalistic work from anybody that just gets up and posts. So that is one reform that needs to go in. But they need to also check the punishment, because some of the punishments are sweeping and a bit harsh, not really, you know, like I said, certain things are done out of innocence. You see, so that is where it should, the law should, you know, work on,
Right.
you know, create that distinction that when you pull out the media out of it, let media people do their work.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And that's much we can take today on Inside Politics on Universal TV Africa. We'll see you again very soon with another episode of Inside Politics. Till then, remember, Nigeria belongs to all of us. Let's make it great. Goodbye.